but we're going to go ahead and do the lecture over sleep. That way y'all can get the information you need because there are questions on this on the test. All right, so pretty much sleep is something everyone needs. Not everyone gets enough of, but that's okay because it's overrated anyway, which is why I'm addicted to my coffee. All right, so what is sleep? It's a type of partial unconsciousness. Okay, your cortical activity in your brain is going to be depressed. Okay, your brain function continues, which is why you get different levels of brainwaves and stuff. And your body is less aware of yourself and the environment, but your brain is still on the periphery paying attention to the environment around you. It's just you personally are less aware of what's going on. Okay, so your sleeping pattern and your rhythm runs basically on a 24-hour cycle of night and day. Okay, so this is your biological clock, which is called your circadian rhythm. Okay, so like I said, it's about 24 hours. Okay, it just depends. It's your sleep and wake cycle. So the way it works, when you start to wake up, your body temperature rises. It's going to peak during the day. It dips in the early afternoon, which is why you get tired. You might need to take a nap. You need to eat some chocolate, drink something that has caffeine just to kind of get you through the day. And then it's going to drop again during the evening. Your thinking and memory improve when you hit your daily peak. And it's different for different people. Some people are night owls, which tend to be teens and young adults, where you have like all this energy in the evening. Most adults are like morning larks, not early birds, okay? But morning larks where your performance kind of declines during the day. I am a super early morning person. I get up at 5. If I don't get stuff done in the morning, by the afternoon, I'm not going to get it done. Okay, so that's me. So, what controls your 24-hour cycle and is going to help with whether or not you get enough sleep is something that is found in your hypothalamus. It is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay. So it's right over here in your hypothalamus. So basically, what it does is it is triggered by light. And when there is light, your suprachiasmatic nucleus is going to talk to the pineal gland to decrease the production of melatonin, which is why if you sleep with the TV on or you have the light from your phone, your brain sees that as light, and that's why you're not going to produce melatonin and you're not going to be able to sleep, which is why then people have to go take melatonin because they can't sleep because the light is constantly on from their phone, because your brain can sense that light. Okay, you also have the preoptic nucleus, which is going to inhibit RAS. Okay, so all that's going to do is that's the part that's going to make sure you don't get up and you're not walking around and moving and you're going to walk out of your bed, like walk out of your house or something like that. Okay, that's how we're inhibiting RAS. All right, so why do we sleep? Okay, there's a bunch of different theories about why your body needs sleep. Okay, number one, it's for protective purposes. Back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers, if you didn't go into your little shelter and sleep, it's not like you had a whole bunch of light. You could walk off a cliff or get eaten by a bear or something. Okay, so it serves protective purposes. Sleep helps us recuperate. It helps restore your immune system. It's going to help repair brain tissue. Your neurons can repair themselves. Okay, so it's very important for your body that you sleep so that you can fix yourself. Okay. Another one is it's going to help restore or rebuild memories of the day's experiences. Okay, sleep consolidates your memories. It's going to replay them. It's going to help strengthen neural connections so that you can help like remember things. Sleep helps feed creative thinking. Okay. It's going to help support growth because during the slow waves of sleep, which we're going to talk about here in a second, your pituitary gland releases growth hormone, which is necessary for muscle development. Okay, so you need to sleep. And then also sleeping is going to help you dream. Okay, and I'll come back to dreaming here in a second. All right, so there are two types of sleep. You have non-REM sleep and you have REM sleep. Okay, REM stands for rapid eye movement. Non-REM is just when you're not in REM sleep. Okay, so there's 4 stages of REM sleep, and you're going to cycle through them as you go through the night. Okay, REM sleep is where we dream. Okay, it's also known as paradoxical sleep. So this is when your body is internally aroused with waking like brain activity, yet you're asleep and you remain externally calm. And as you go through REM sleep, it becomes longer as the night goes on. Okay, so you will hit REM sleep for a little bit longer the longer that you sleep. And if you've ever watched somebody who's in REM sleep, like when their eyes move back and forth, it's because your brain really thinks you're experiencing something and you're watching a movie. So your motor cortex is active. Like I said, you're lax. You can't really be easily awakened. And so this is kind of why you sometimes experience like a semi-paralysis while you're in REM sleep. But it's really creepy to watch somebody who's in REM sleep because their eyes just keep moving around all the time. All right. So as we go through the stages of non-REM, okay, you're going to hit the different stages and there's different waves, and I'll go over those in a second. Okay. So the first one is NREM 1. Okay, when we go through NREM 1, this is where you're going to have your theta waves. It's really light sleep. It's a few minutes. It's not that long. Your heart rate starts to slow. Your blood pressure decreases. And this is where you get like this weird sensation. Like if you've ever dozed off and you're kind of partway asleep, but not really asleep, and then you jerk and you wake yourself back up. Okay, that is what happens during NREM 1, and that's the hypnagogic sensation. Okay, so it's like where you feel like you're floating and then you wake up, and then or you feel like you're falling and then you transition to sleep. Okay, so that's what that is. NREM 1 gives way to NREM 2, and so like they kind of slowly start to go together. But during NREM 2, this is when you start to get what are called sleep spindles, which are short bursts of rapid brain waves. Okay, and this is kind of like considered true sleep, and it's going to last for about 15 to 20 minutes. NREM 3 is your deep sleep, which this is your slow breathing, slow heart rate. Okay, NREM 3 and 4 are also called delta sleep, and because they both have delta waves. Okay. So this is where it's really hard to wake up. If you're wakened out of delta sleep, this is when you're really disoriented and you're groggy. This is when your body is going to replenish its chemical supply, release its growth hormone. This is like the important part of sleep. Then when you hit stage 4, this is when you hit the delta waves, which is the very, very deep sleep. So stages 3 and 4 anywhere last from about 20 to 40 minutes. And so total going through stages 1 through 4 is about 60 minutes. Then you're going to cycle up again. So that's what this is right here, right? So you're awake. You go down through 1, 2, 3, and then stage 4. Then you come back up to stage 3, come back up to stage 2. You stay in stage 2 for a while. Okay. Then you hit REM sleep up here. Then you go down. Then you come up. Then down and up. And then every time you hit REM, you are going to stay in REM sleep for a little bit longer every night. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea of sleep patterns, these were actually two of my sleep patterns, which we can tell. This was one where I had a very, very bad sleep score on this one. And so my Fitbit tracks my sleep for me. And I think this one was like a 53, right? This was my really, really bad one. Hold on, where's it at? And I'll find y'all. July 15th. Okay, so was this my good one or my bad one? Anyway. Oh, wait, that's June. That's why. Haha. No, this was my bad one. My sleep score was a 58. I slept a total of 5 hours on this one, guys. So you can see how much time I spent awake. 14% of my night, I was actually like awake. I couldn't sleep. I was only in REM sleep for 45 minutes, so I hit it twice. I spent most of my time in a light sleep, so that's like stages 1 to 2, mostly stage 2. And then my deep sleep, which is stages 3 and 4, I was only in for an hour. Okay, so that one wasn't very good. Oh, back. All right. I've never really hit a good, like a great amount of sleep. I just don't sleep well. This probably was my best one. I think I had an 89 on this one. Okay, so this one was really good for me. This was a total of 8 hours and 41 minutes of sleep. So again, you can see I really didn't spend any time awake. I actually slept. But you can see how you cycle down and then you come back up. And so this is a really good indication of how you cycle through your sleep. And then you always hit REM sleep right before you wake up. Okay, which is a lot of times you wake up while you're dreaming. Okay, so if we're looking at brainwave patterns, okay, if you use an EEG, which is electroencephalogram, which that's what it does, is it measures your brainwave activity. Your beta waves are when you're awake and alert. Alpha waves are when you're drowsy. You tend to be relaxed, really calm. This usually is when you're awake. It could also be like as you kind of like doze off in class a little bit. Okay, so your theta waves are in REM 1, which is when you're in your deep, relaxed state. Okay, so you can kind of see how they dip and they're not high functioning. And then delta waves are your deep dreamless sleep, and so you can see how your brain activity is going to kind of go up and down for that. But I will tell you, as you get older, the amount of sleep that you get and the amount that you spend in different stages dramatically changes. Okay, so speaking of sleep, there are also sleep disorders. Okay, so when we look at sleep disorders, okay, you have insomnia, which is it's difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Okay, so you tend to be chronically tired. Some people tend to rely on sleeping pills or alcohol, which is going to reduce REM sleep. And so you're not going to get the effect that you need out of the aids that you're taking to help you sleep. Okay. There is sleep apnea, which is where you stop breathing repeatedly while sleeping, which leads to fatigue and depression. It tends to be associated with obesity. My dad had this, and he went and had a sleep study done. And normally everyone will like go to a point where like you roll over and you just take a while for you to take a breath again. And so maybe I think like a normal number is like 10, 15 times, something like that when you sleep. Yeah, my dad was over like 200 times that he would stop sleeping or stop breathing while he was sleeping. And so you get the lovely CPAP machine, which is continuous positive airway pressure, if you didn't know what that meant. And so it just helps pump oxygen and keeps your airway open. And so it helps you sleep because then your blood is oxygenated and you're going to have energy. Okay, there is sleepwalking and sleep talking, which happens in REM stages 3 and 4. Um, and mostly this happens in kids. My oldest one, Weston, would sleepwalk. Both of my kids sleep talk. They'll full blown tell you stories while they're talking. They'll hold a conversation. My uncle on my mom's side would sleep, walk, and talk when he was little. He did a lot of sleepwalking. There was one night my grandmother woke up because she heard a noise in her kitchen, and my uncle had slept walk into the kitchen and he was peeing in the oven. Okay, didn't know what he was doing. Okay, so you just take him back to bed. With sleep talking, my mom was living with him when he went to college, and he's a police officer, so he worked like really weird shifts and stuff. And she would come in, have a conversation with him while he was totally asleep, had no clue of anything he talked about, didn't remember anything, but had a total conversation with her. Okay, then you get narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is not like where you just constantly fall asleep, okay? It's sudden attacks of overwhelming sleepiness. So yes, you can just flat out fall asleep, but if you have an attack, it's only going to last about 5 minutes. It happens like during emotional times, so you can still drive. You just have to be really cautious of what's going on. Okay, so that's what narcolepsy is. And then you have night terrors. Okay, nightmares and night terrors are two totally different things. Nightmares are just bad dreams. Night terrors are like when you sit up in bed and you scream and you're terrified and you're talking nonsense. Again, my oldest one, Weston, had night terrors when he was about 2 or 3. And again, this mostly happens in children. But he would wake up terrified. He would just start screaming, and it would take a really long time to calm him down. But it's not as bad as sleepwalking and sleep talking, and it's totally different from nightmares, which is just having a bad dream. So speaking of dreams, okay, what are they? Dreams are sequences of images, emotions, and thought that pass through your mind. Your brain thinks dreams are real. It's like watching a movie for them, okay? We go through different reasons about why we dream, okay? So according to Freud, because Freud doesn't go anywhere, there's wish fulfillment, okay? Dreams preserve sleep and provide like this psychic safety valve, right? According to Freud, you have 2 different types of content in your dreams. There's manifest and latent. Manifest is like the symbolic remembered storyline of your dream. Latent content is the underlying meaning, right? So your subconscious meaning. Okay, because everything again with Freud is subconscious, right? Another part of dreaming is to file away memories. Okay, this is information processing. It helps you sort out the day's events. It's going to help you consolidate your memories. When you dream, you are making sense of stuff that happened during your day. One of the dreams I remembered most recently had to do with cupcakes and icing, because we had made cupcakes here at the house and I had the leftover icing in the fridge. And then I had a dream where we were trying to find cupcake icing for something. So it's how your brain just puts together all of your day's events and it tries to make sense of stuff. Okay. Another thing is to help develop and preserve your neural pathways. Okay. And that comes from your REM sleep, to make sense of neural static. Okay. And that's also called activation synthesis. That's just your REM sleep is going to trigger neural activity that's going to kind of help weave stuff together and weave all your stories together, because there's a lot of stuff that you see in the day that you really don't know that your brain has processed. And then for cognitive development, so dreams simulate our lives. And so it's just how your brain is going to develop. Okay. So this is everything on sleep and dreams. And as you know by now, this is all going to be part of an Ed puzzle, and y'all don't get out of listening to the lecture.
CT last chance. Oh, sir, I don't have time to talk right now.